Lesson 3. Value and Lighting. This presentation has been prepared as part of project Boosting Positive Narrative on Money Integration Through Arts. Value is the degree of lightness or absence of light in a color, whereas light is the illumination emanating from a light source. Artists use light to show contrast by illuminating their work using a light source. Value is the amount of light or darkness in a hue. The value in art is a quality or a value of light and dark of a given shade or tone, and is defined as one of the 7 elements of art alongside with line, shape, space, form, texture, and color. A color's value refers to its brightness or darkness. Value is extremely significant in art because we see and interpret items based on how dark or bright they are. Different color and tonal values can be used by artists to create the illusion of light. The value of a color or hue determines how bright or dark it may be. Between stronger colors like black and white, high contrast pictures contain few tonal values. The appearance of texture and light in art is determined by value. Value serves to describe 3 important features of the subject in a realistic painting: whether the subject has volume or is flat, what kind of texture the surface of the subject has, and where the light source is located and how bright it is. The easiest way to give value to an object in the painting is by drawing lights and shadows to the object. Here comes the main elements of light and shadow. The elements of the light are: the first one, direct light. The direct light, also called the center light, is the area of the form that faces the light source and receives the most direct light. The second one is the highlight. The highlight is the lightest area on the form because it is perpendicular to the light source. It is actually a reflection of the light source, so it moves depending on where you are in relation to it. Therefore, the highlight should be the last element that you concern yourself with in your drawing. The third one is the halftone. The halftone is the gradation between the direct light and the core shadow. The elements of the shadow are the following. Core shadow. The core shadow is the dark band visible where light and shadow meet. It is the point at which light can no longer reach the form to illuminate it. It is the darkest area of the shadow on the sphere, the form shadow, because it is least affected by reflected light. The reflected light. Light hitting the surface of an object can be absorbed or reflected. Usually a little bit of both occurs. While direct light from the light source cannot reach the underside of the sphere, it can reach the surface on which the sphere rests, bounce off it into the shadow on the sphere, and lighten its value. The cast shadow. The cast shadow is the shadow on the surface that the object rests on. It is created by the object itself blocking the light from the light source. There is a useful trick to find the shape of the cast shadow. Imagine 2 light rays projecting from the light source to the core shadow on the form. Continue these lines until they hit the surface on which the object rests, and they will show you the boundaries of the cast shadow. The occlusion shadow. Part of the cast shadow, the occlusion shadow, is immediately below the form. It is the darkest segment of the cast shadow because it is least affected by the light source and reflected light. Paintings, interestingly, do not require color to meet those requirements. Color can conceal poor image construction, but in grayscale images, it is easy to spot areas that are lopsided, too bright, too dark, or devoid of critical information. Value also has an impact on how we perceive lighting and how we allocate importance to different lighting levels when describing the shapes of things in our paintings. Value can assist give a shape the illusion of mass or volume in two-dimensional artworks, or it can give the entire composition a sense of illumination and depth. Artists influence the public's eye by using shading and contrasts effect to attempt to direct it to the painting or drawing's focal point. The color appears lighter or darker depending on the proportion of white and black in each hue. The values towards the lighter end of the scale spectrum are referred to as high-keyed, while those near the darker end are referred to as low-keyed. The saturation is influenced by the lightening or darkening of the tones, which adds to the color dilution. For many people, value in art is more significant than color, since it influences the tone of the color. Now, when you get familiar with the value and lighting in painting, let's move on to the next lesson about composition.